The Snowbound Shepherd, Chapter 3. The House with No Fire. Mara worked in solemn silence, her hands knowing their task well. She moved with the kind of care taught not by schooling, but by winners and loss. Over Eli's hands, she rubbed a thick salve, sharp with pine, warm with pepper root, then bound each finger in links of linen, drawn from a drawer, smooth soft with age. Without ceremony, she handed him a clay mug filled with something dark and bitter, steam curling like breath. Drink, she said. It'll stir your blood, clear the lungs. Eli took a cautious sip. He blinked once as the heat lanced through him, strange and sharp as nettles. What is it? Best not ask. He nodded, grateful for whatever mix she'd conjured, and she returned no smile, only a lone look, as if he were a cipher God had sent on a whim. Will you be staying long? Only till the pass is thawed, Eli said quietly. I've no mind to trespass. She crossed her arms, eyes steady. Men have come to Whisper Hollow before, saying the same. Most left worse things behind as snow. Something in her, words hung like smoke, unspoken history, raw and unresolved. I'm not most men, Eli said. No, she replied, tone flat as tin. You're a preacher. She turned from him then, sleeves rolled to the elbow, stirring the pot of the fire with sure arms and the focus of someone who didn't trouble herself with pleasantries. He watched her with quiet respect. She worked the way some pray, without drama, without pause. The door creaked, and Silas stepped in, carrying a satchel. Dry clothes, he said, from the meeting house. Last belonged to the man we call pastor. Eli took the bundle, fingers numb again despite the salve. What become of him? He asked. Silas shrugged. He left, said we wasn't worth the saving. The words landed soft but deep. That night, Eli bedded down on a cot pressed near the fire, its warmth barely reaching the corner. He lay listening to the wind claw at the eaves, to the wood groaning under the weight of snow and time. Somewhere in the hollow's folds, a dog barked and a child cried. Then silence. Not the kind that comforts, the kind born of places that have learned to live without asking too much from hope. Chapter 4. The Woman by the Window. The dawn unfurled slow, pale and aching. Frost feathered the inside of the cabin's glass panes. Filigree spun by night's breath and the hush of mountain chill. Eli stirred as the light bled in, not golden, but pewter, thin as memory. He lay still for a moment, listening to the woods settle and the wind whisper past the eaves. The hearth had gone cold. The room held its silence like a secret. Mara stood by the table, already at work. She moved with the quiet rhythm of someone who had long since abandoned rush. Her shawl hung over her shoulders like a mantle, hair pinned without ornament, sleeves rolled to the elbow. She did not turn as he rose. You sleep like stone, she said, voice flat as morning fog. Eli stretched, spine creaking like the beams overhead. I've ridden 100 towns in the past 3 years. This is the first one where no one's knocked before dawn. We don't knock unless we need something, she replied. And need keeps things noisy. She poured a mug of something darker and kinder than the night's remedy. Steam curled upward, and she placed it on the table without flair. You'll want to see the church, she said, up the hill, past the mill stream. If you are who you claim to be, it won't wait. Eli nodded, drinking slowly. The brew warmed but didn't bite. He set the cup down and stepped outside as the sun finally breached the ridge. The light was thin and cold, catching on icicles and snowdrifts. Smoke lifted lazily from chimneys, and the creek murmured like a hymn beneath the frost. Birds did not sing. The town held still, as if every heartbeat just slightly slower in Whisper Hollow. He found the chapel easily. It leaned against the edge of the pine woods, its steeple askew, boards bleached with age and storm. It bowed, not from decay, but from memory, from the weight of prayer once carried within. The doors were shut but not locked. Inside, dust hung in fractured light. The pews were arranged still, as though awaiting something that hadn't come in years. The altar cloth was riddled with holes, moth-bitten and dull. A wooden cross, splintered and leaning, rested against the wall like a falling sentinel. Eli stopped at the railing, placed a hand on its worn wood, and whispered into the stillness. "How long has it been, Lord, since you were welcomed here?" The door behind him creaked, and he turned. Morris stood there, framed in the threshold like a figure out of a faded photograph. "I used to come here," she said, "when I was a girl, when Paul was still with us." Eli nodded, watching her step forward into the shafts of winter sun. "And now?" She looked up at the rafters. "Now the mountains got more ghosts than saints, and most of us keep our prayers quiet." Her voice didn't tremble, but Eli felt something pass through it. Grief carried like a hidden bruise. She met his eyes, and for the first time, he saw them clear, not hardened, but guarded. "Maybe that's why I'm here," he said. They stood in silence, dust dancing between them. After a moment, she turned and walked back into the morning without answering, her footsteps soft like snow falling on old earth. Eli remained, watching the light gather in slow patterns across the floorboards, as if the sun itself still remembered. Join me again for chapter 5 and 6 of The Snowbound Shepherd. Thank you for listening. Have a good day, guys.